name's Tony Messenger. I'm the editorial page editor at the Post-Dispatch. And yeah, that's the first one. So very early on, we realized this is a different sort of story for us, not only on the editorial page from news, but anything that we've ever covered, in the sense that this was going to be intensely local and also very much watched by the world. And so we wanted to be cognizant of that on the editorial page. And I had met, it's interesting, Dave Gehring's here and said he wasn't going to plug anything practical that The Guardian does. I'll do that for him. I had met Matt Sullivan, who used to be and was at the time the editorial page for Guardian US at a ASNE conference, or Scripps-Howard conference. And I recognized that I needed to do something to reach an audience outside of St. Louis and use digital tools to do that, and do it in a way that I wasn't going to have the speed in-house to do, because we were all just busy doing everything we could to feed the beast every single day, both in terms of print and digitally and everything else. And as you likely know, in various shops, the editorial page doesn't exactly have the development team on speed dial to come down to our floor and talk about doing special development projects. So I called Matt Sullivan at The Guardian, and I said, look, I don't know what I want to do, but I want our readers to engage with the world in a way that I haven't done before, and I want worldwide readers to really see what we're going to be writing about on the editorial page, which isn't so much Michael Brown and Darren Wilson and grand juries and Robert McCullough, but why are the protesters out there? What are these underlying causes? What's really going on? And what's their experience? What's the African American experience in Ferguson and New York and Boston and London and everywhere else? And so we talked about an idea, and the idea was, let's crowdsource your racial profiling story. Wherever you are in the world, whether it's St. Louis or whatever, what's your I am Michael Brown story? And so we decided what we would do is we would get this question out there, primarily on social media, also on our websites, and basically ask people to tell us their Michael Brown story, and then we would figure out what we were going to do digitally later. This is the thing that I learned about this process, two things that I learned about engagement. One, be willing to try new things, and those of us in legacy media aren't prepared yet to move as quickly as you need to do some of these things, which is why these partnerships that I think other media organizations are also doing are so important. So that's first. And two, the other things you're doing digitally are necessary if you're going to be successful here. Me asking the world to tell me an I am Michael Brown story does nothing if I have no Twitter followers and no Facebook presence and no way to engage in that community. So what we did is, through the Guardian social media networks and through the Post-Dispatch social media networks, at a time when the protests were very high, as we asked them to tell us, and I apologize, I don't remember exactly what our hashtag was for this one, but we basically asked them, tell us your Michael Brown story. So is there where's the slide thing so I can move? Here we go. I think I only gave 2 slides, so. Okay. Well, what we ended up publishing was this project, and can it go? Yeah, just go down lower. Okay. So basically, we asked people to tell us their stories and give us your name and your information and your town. And we struggled with this. This is sort of a modern version of the letter to the editor. Okay, except for we're reaching audiences that we didn't normally reach. Couple of things. We had to design a spreadsheet to do it. The folks at The Guardian did that. And then we embedded it on both the Post-Dispatch site and the Guardian site. And this first project that we did, we probably weren't quite ready for it. And the audience wasn't quite ready for it because the audience was still angry. The audience was still protesting. The audience was still very much focused on what was going on the street every day. So we didn't get as many responses to this as we would have liked, either locally or nationally. But we tried it, and we got enough, and then what we did was both the Guardian and the Post-Dispatch separately published digital projects in which we had our developers decide how we were going to present it. And they looked different on both the Guardian and the Post-Dispatch website. But on our site, we went with the quote, in part because we didn't get enough mugshots of real people. And then you could click on the quote and get more information and a fuller story from the individual if we got that. So that was our project, and then we used our social media platforms to push that out to people. And it was a way for us to engage in readers in a way and audiences in a way that we hadn't done before. And it happened because we were willing to partner with an organization that thought about this stuff in a way that we don't think about things traditionally in media, and in a way in which our development, we've got great development guys and digital guys who did a great job putting this together, but there's no way we could have done it as quickly as we did it without outside help. So that's the first thing we did. Then Matt and I kept talking as the story was going on, and we're like, this was good, but we can do something better. We can do something more meaningful, and we can leverage even more folks in a larger audience. So before the grand jury came out, we were talking about taking what had been our focus on the editorial page, which was solutions. What are the underlying causes to the unrest in terms of the poverty, in terms of the underfunded schools, in terms of the racial profiling, in terms of a court system that preys on the poor? What are the things that need to be fixed for this not to happen again? That's what we had been writing about. So we decided that we needed to ask people, what were your solutions? What are your solutions to Ferguson? How do you fix Ferguson? What's next? And we really struggled on when to get that out, because timing, this is the other thing I think that we learned, timing is so important on anything related to social media. And we wanted to time it around the grand jury because we knew so many people would be focused on Ferguson again, but we didn't want it to be timed poorly based on what if Ferguson burns, which in fact it did for a night, and we didn't know what the story was. So we kind of had it planned around the time we thought the grand jury was going to come out, and then we waited a couple of days, and I don't remember exactly the date, but a few days after the grand jury came out, this time we expanded our partners. So it was the Post-Dispatch, the Guardian, the St. Louis American, which is an African-American weekly newspaper in the city, Riverfront Times, which is a weekly alternative, Color Lines, and Ebony. And we wanted to get, again, as broad an audience as we could so we could use everybody's social media platform to get people to the site. And this was the hardest part of the decision from my standpoint, because I was being, I was trying to think high-minded in terms of, hey, we're really trying to fix a problem here, but I'm also thinking about the fact that I work for a company, and part of that is I want to get people to our website. And I don't want to just because the Guardian is wanting to partner as well. I wanted to learn from this, but I also wanted to bring people to our website. So this one was called Ferguson Next, and we hashtagged it, #FergusonNext. And the Guardian created a microsite called FergusonNext.com, and we basically asked people to come here, give us your solution. How do you fix the underlying causes? They could write more than you could on Twitter. I don't remember exactly how much space we gave them. And then those quotes, as they started to come in, would rotate on this page. We decided to have a donate page because we thought that was going to bring more people into the audience. It created some angst in our organization, but we went with it anyway because I'm used to creating angst in our organization. And then down towards the bottom of the page, this was the part where all of the partner organizations would post their solution-related material. We did editorials, op-eds, those sorts of things, so that as people were sharing their ideas, hopefully we were also bringing them back to our site. This one, because we had a broader audience, was much more successful. Many more people responded from all over the world. We got a lot of really great solution ideas. And then after this, we then made, again, like we did before, our own digital project on the Post-Dispatch site, and it's still there. Can we go to that one? I think that's next. So then we had our digital folks take all of the solutions that we had in a database, put them into 6 different categories, and then keep going down. And then you could click on the category, and once you clicked on the category, then you would have an answer, and then you could scroll to all of the different sort of responses. So we had local, we had national, we had all over the world, and the hard part about it from a timing standpoint is you're trying to use the digital tools to make things easier. We still had to treat this like any other regular letters to the editor. We had some information in the database, but we had to verify. We had to throw out some anonymous ones. We wanted it to be really meaningful. But we got some really good stuff, and it was sort of the melding of the national and the local. We got, people from St. Louis offering their solutions right next to people from around the world who sort of thought that they had Ferguson happening in their community too. And I think this really ended up being leveraged when you ended up having Tamir Rice and Eric Garner, and this thing sort of becoming so much more of a national and international story. So the lesson is partnerships are good. Legacy media has to do a better job of being able to move more quickly on some of these ideas, because we got a lot of web hits on this stuff. We had people, they're still on the site. It's still sort of, I should do a Throwback Thursday. Hey, remember those Ferguson Next? I haven't done that yet. But it was meaningful. It was good journalism. It wasn't just, hey, let's go out and engage people. It was good, meaningful journalism. And it wouldn't have had the success if the various partners didn't already have a somewhat robust social media presence and policy and strategy in order to go out and engage folks, because the folks we wanted to engage with needed to be able to already see us somewhere, or they wouldn't have engaged. So that's what we did on the editorial page.